Okay, I think we are ready to get started. So welcome everybody to the CTA Virtual Job Fair. Today we're going to be talking about the bus operator position here at CTA. As you'll note from the screen, all of our participants will be muted for the duration of this fair, and that is just to prevent any audio interference. We want to make sure everybody hears and is able to receive the information that is being shared. However, we definitely want to hear your questions. So if you have questions, please put those in the chat box and send them to our colleague whose name is Q&A CTA. He goes by Justin on a regular basis, but he will be able to field your questions and we will try to get as many of those answered as we possibly can towards the end of today's session. My name is Lindsay Estupiñan. I work with the Outreach and Engagement team in Human Resources, and I'm excited to host this event for you today. But you're not going to hear from me much longer. I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague Jamie, who's going to share a little bit about the CTA and the bus operator position. Jamie, take it away.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name again is Jamie Wallace. I am the lead recruiter for the bus operator position. Thank you for joining us today and welcome. All right, so our mission here at the CTA is to deliver quality, affordable transit service that links people, jobs, and communities. The CTA has well over 10,000 employees, both union and non-union positions. We serve the Chicago area as well as 35 suburban areas. We have 130 bus routes and 8 rail lines. So some of our locations is one headquarters, that's where we are stationed, Human Resources. We have 7 bus garages, that's where the bus operators and the bus mechanics work out of. And then we have 9 rail lines. Some positions that work out of the rail lines is the CSA position as well as the track workers. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the bus operator role. So just a quick summary of the position, what bus operators do. They basically transport our customers safely to and from their destinations. Now, one of the requirements for the position is you would need to at least be 21 years of age. You must have an acceptable driving record, and you must have either a Class B CDL, which is a commercial driver's license, or a Class B CLP, which is a commercial learner's permit. And you will also need 3 endorsements, which is general knowledge, passenger, and air brakes. And we'll talk a little bit more about the requirements for the position. All right, so the bus operator position is a part-time position. Over time and with seniority, you can be transitioned to full-time within maybe 12 to 18 months. The position is capped at 32 hours per week. Now, also keep in mind that CTA is a 24-hour establishment. So you may work holidays, you may work nights, weekends, things of that nature. The hourly rate for the bus operator position is $23.44 an hour. You'll also go through 30 to 45 days of training, which is paid, and it is medical benefits that come with the position. Unlike some part-time positions, this one does come with medical benefits. Now, location and assignment shifts. So starting out, you won't be able to choose your location or your assignments. But with seniority, again, you will eventually be able to choose the garage that you want to work out of, as well as the shifts that you want to work. All right, so what we look for in bus operators, we look for someone that has strong people skills, someone that's a safe driver and committed to safety, someone who has great customer service, someone who is patient, punctual, and flexible. Again, one of the requirements for the position is a good driving record. We will review your motor vehicle report, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, as well as, again, you will need a CDL, which is a commercial learner's license, or a commercial driver's license or a commercial learner's permit. Now, neither are required to apply for the position or interview for the position, but if you are selected to move forward and you are extended a verbal offer, you will need those before you can actually start the pre-employment process. Now we'll talk a little bit about our hiring process and the pre-employment process. All right, so on our transitchicago.com/careers page, this is where you can view upcoming jobs, any jobs that we are currently listing. The great thing about this is you are able to see the salary for the position. And jobs are just a heads up, jobs are always posted on Fridays. Right, so how you would apply for a position with CTA, you will go to transitchicago.com/careers. You will create a profile, fill out an application to whatever job it is you're interested in. And just a suggestion to make sure that you attach a resume that is relevant to the position that you're applying for. Also, don't create duplicate profiles. If you somehow get locked out of your profile, just contact customer service and they will be able to go ahead and reset your password instead of you having duplicate profiles. It's easier to find you with one profile opposed to multiple. All right, so here are some questions that applicants like yourself may ask yourself while you're applying for positions or while you're looking at jobs on our website. Do I qualify for the job? Do I have the years of experience, the degree or certification required? Is my resume current? Do I need to upload a new one? And if I have applied to CTA jobs in the past, do my resume speak to the job that I am applying for? And if the job requires a driver's license, do I have that? And do I have a good driving record? All right, so one of the requirements for the bus operator position is the written exam. Well, it was a written exam, now it's an online assessment. So with the assessment, it is a general knowledge and customer service based test. All applicants must take this test to move forward with the position. So if you fail the exam, you must wait a year before you can retest for the exam. And then if you pass the exam, your scores is valid for at least 3 years. All right, so we also review your motor vehicle report, also known as your driver's abstract, also known as the court purpose driving abstracts. Just a heads up, we do not, if you are getting your abstract from the Secretary of State, we do not accept public abstracts. And also, if you are submitting your court purpose driver's abstract, please be sure to include the supervision page. You can request this information from the Secretary of State website, or you can actually go inside of one of the DMVs. The cost for the driver's abstract is going to be $12. Now, we also have the option to request the driver's abstract on your behalf or the motor vehicle report on your behalf. With that, we will send you an email, as well as HireRight will send you an email as well. So just be sure that you're checking your email and you are responding to those requests if we are requesting an abstract on your behalf. So some things that we look at when we are reviewing your driver's abstract or motor vehicle report are the driving convictions or accidents that you have on your driver record, suspensions, supervisions, revocations, and also DUI occurrences. Now, any financial responsibility instances are excluded. We don't review those. All right, so if you successfully pass the written assessment or the online assessment, as well as the motor vehicle report review, then you will be invited to interview. So interviews typically take about 30 to 40 minutes. Due to the pandemic, we currently use Zoom the Zoom platform to do our interviews instead of in person. You would interview with either myself or another recruiter, as well as one of the department managers. So things we focus on while we're interviewing is your work history, your driving experience, as well as customer service experience. And here are a few interview tips that recruiters are looking for when we are reviewing our resumes as well as job applications. So be sure to review the job description before you interview and think about how you meet the requirements. Also, it's best practice to log into Zoom maybe 5 to 10 minutes early to test your internet connection as well as your video and your audio. Make sure you are in a quiet place to interview with minimum distractions. Wear appropriate interview clothing. Although the interview is virtually, it's still good to, or it is still good to be professional. Present yourself in a polite and professional way. And lastly, provide answers that you have done that demonstrate your experience. So with that, one of the questions that we ask during interviews is the STAR method questions. So with those questions, we look for real life examples, things that actually happen in your job experience, and you're just kind of walking us through those experiences. All right, so some more details about the commercial driver's license. You can obtain your commercial learner's permit or your CDL at one of the two locations listed, which is Elk Grove Village or South Holland. The cost for the CDL or the COP is $60. And again, you need the 3 endorsements listed, which is general knowledge, passenger, and air brakes. All right, so after the written exam, after the motor vehicle report review, after the interview, you will be giving a verbal offer. After the verbal offer and you've obtained your COP with all of the endorsements required, you will go through the pre-employment process or the post-interview process, which is background and fingerprinting as well as medical. So with background and fingerprinting, we will run your FBI background report, and your Illinois state report. And we also use the third-party vendor HireRight. We'll also run that report as well for your background. And then with medical, you'll do a DOT physical as well as a HPA exam and a drug screening. Some benefits CTA have is free transit service on CTA and PACE buses, as well as full-time and part-time employees have medical benefits, and it's a ton of professional development opportunities. So ton of room for growth if you are looking to grow within the company. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening and chiming in. We hope to view your application soon. Handing it back over to you, Lindsay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie. Now we're going to have a special opportunity to speak with one of our bus operations employees, actually the general manager in bus operations, Arlana Johnson. And I want to encourage all of our participants, our audience members, to keep sending your questions to Q&A CTA, whether they're for Jamie and the hiring process or whether they're going to be for Arlana and any of the topics that she talks about. We want to hear your questions, so feel free to send those in. Again, send them to Q&A CTA. But with that, I'd love to get started and chat a little bit with Arlana. So Arlana, welcome. We're glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how long you've worked at CTA, and tell us a little bit about your career progression, maybe other roles you've had here or how you got started.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Arlana Johnson, and I'm a general manager here at the CTA. I started my career in 1994 as a part-time bus operator. And my career with CTA is quite lengthy, but just to touch on it, really quick, I started out as, again, a part-time bus operator. And after becoming full-time, I continued that for the next 16 years. Around 2010, I decided to explore other opportunities within bus operations. So I became a garage clerk, supervisor, garage manager, administrative manager, a senior manager, which with that, I was responsible for an entire garage. And then to now my current role of general manager, where I'm responsible for multiple garages. My primary objective in this role is to constantly look for ways to improve our department, and moreover through training and development of our future leaders, such as yourselves.
That's amazing. You've had, I was trying to count, is it 6 or 7 roles at CTA, or was it more than that?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's amazing. But I think that exemplifies really, really perfectly just some of the opportunities that are available at CTA. So we'll get into those a little bit later. But when we're talking about the bus operator position specifically, I know that you've been a hiring manager for people who are coming into the bus operation or bus operator role. So from your experience, what are some of the top skills that somebody needs for the bus operator position? Or what are some things that our hiring managers are looking for when they're looking for good bus operator candidates?
Besides the obvious that were already mentioned, the people skills, the customer service, safety, punctuality, I think you would need integrity. You know, it's very important just because no one's looking over your shoulder that you do the right thing. I think you need passion. You should be passionate about your work and the responsibilities that come along with that, and empathy. I mean, it's important to understand that currently, you know, we're in a very stressful state as a nation. So you're dealing with the public. It's going to be very important to be able to recognize and understand a person's emotional state.
Yeah, oh, that's really good. That's something I don't think about a lot, but like, yeah, when you think about if you've ever ridden a bus or a train, you know, empathy has got to be an important skill because you never know what somebody's going through and, you know, how you, but you need to respond to that, you know, politely and with good customer service still, right?
Absolutely.
Great. So tell us a little bit about logistics. So I know that Jamie mentioned when she was presenting that the starting salary for this role is $23.44 an hour. But I know that's probably a big question on everybody's mind is, you know, what could I get to? What's the top range of pay? So what's the highest salary for the bus operator role, and how soon could somebody get to that salary? Or what are the ways that operators are evaluated for salary for pay increases?
Okay, so currently the top pay for a bus operator is $36.07. Their increases are received every 2,080 hours. So basically, I mean, if you do the math, the more you work, the faster you get to your increase, basically. So the increase and how fast you get to it is really up to you. There really is no evaluation when it comes to that. At the end of the day, you put in the work, you put in the hours, and you'll see that increase, you know, faster than most, just working a regular 5 days a week, 40 hours a week.
Thank you. So you kind of talked about your own journey so far in the different roles that you've had, but I know anecdotally that people who start as operators go to a lot of places throughout the authority. So what are some opportunities for advancement that somebody who starts in the bus operator role could go to, you know, in different units or different business units around the organization?
So I don't know if it was coincidental, but I'm a prime example of exactly what you just asked. There are so many opportunities here at CTA. You know, there are so many different departments. There are departments within departments. So I think the opportunity would be up to you. You know, it's whatever you choose to do. Hopefully you come into this at some point looking at it beyond just the job, you know, something that you have to do, not very enjoyable, doesn't hold a lot of value, to changing your mindset to looking at it as a career, where it's something that you love to do, because then you'll be more invested in your personal accomplishment, you know, and more goal oriented, and it will be more rewarding. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess you can kind of look at it where you could drive this like a car, or you could drive it like a convertible. You know, it's up to you if you want to let the top down.
It is great. And I know, you know, you mentioned opportunities for advancement, or that's what we've talked about, but we also know that there are people who enter as bus operators and stay in that career, and we call it a career because it is a career, right? Stay in that career for 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, I work with retirees, and people are retiring of having been a bus operator for, you know, decades. And so I think that's one of the things that's really cool about CTA is if you find yourself in this role, or you get to be a person in this bus operator role, if you love it, it's something that you can make a lasting and profitable career off of, and you can really provide for your family with the salary and the benefits that are offered. But if you aspire to something different, like you said, there's lots of opportunities for those, for that movement as well. So one of the things that we always like to talk about is, yeah, if you're happy as a bus operator, that's awesome, you can do that. But if you've got other dreams, you can pursue those as well. So Jamie mentioned at the beginning, we've got 10,000 employees. So that's 10,000 opportunities, right? Of different things to do. So what, in your opinion, are some of the top reasons that somebody should consider a career as a bus operator?
So again, job satisfaction, career stability, the opportunity to grow and develop. If you fall in love with being an operator, because as you just said, some people do. They fall in love with that customer interaction. They make those friendships and those relationships on their route. If you fall in love with that, then you still can grow and develop as a bus operator, as a person, on the whole. But the job satisfaction and stability here is amazing. Again, you could do all kinds of things in your life, homes, cars, put your children in college, it's up to you. So that's what I feel, a career at CTA would give you. It's definitely a career job. It's definitely a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. What would be your advice to somebody who is considering this kind of career path at CTA?
So the best advice that I could give is to not really attach yourself to the company or the organization, but attach yourself to the mission. Because I feel like if you attach yourself to the mission, that's where you'll find your purpose. That's where you'll become more invested in your personal accomplishments. So again, if you attach yourself to the mission and the mission that leads you to be the best bus operator the streets of Chicago ever seen, that's what it is, but you'll find that niche and you'll find what it is that you want to do. We all possess a lot of skills and qualities that sometimes we don't even know we have. But as you go through the motions of every day, you'll start to say, just like I did. I drove the bus for 16 years before I decided to explore other opportunities. So at some point, you'll start to realize, I want to try this, or I want to try that, or I want to remain where I am. It's really up to you. So that's the advice I would give. Just attach yourself to the mission and not the organization as just to say CTA, but the mission for what it stands for, because that's where you get to the core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And our mission is moving a city, which I like. Thinking about the scope of that always just boggles my mind. Like we move millions of people, and we are kind of the glue that holds together the city, allowing people to get to work and school and doctor's appointments and all kinds of other things. So I always like to liken us to the lifeblood of Chicago. Okay, so my last question is kind of personal for you, but what do you personally enjoy most about working for CTA?
I enjoy that CTA is a forward-thinking company. It's always constantly thinking of ways to improve, and it makes me want to, do the same thing in my career here. Again, it just allowed me as an employee to acquire a whole spectrum of abilities that I didn't even know I had. And therefore, it keeps me open to the possibilities. So that's why, I started out for a while in that one lane, but then it's like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I just wanted to, all the possibilities, I just wanted to tap into it. So, again, it just allowed me to take control of my destiny. And I think that's what we all want, because I think it'll give you a better, a more fruitful experience with your career if you could control your destiny. So, I really started from the bottom. Now I'm here, no cliche, but it's just, it's amazing. So that's what I enjoy working most about here, just the challenges and the opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Arlana. Do you have any final words, anything that you would want to say to our audience today about the bus operator position or working at CTA?
I think that you should really grab a hold of this opportunity. Back in 1994, it was so hard to get in this company. The waiting list was crazy. It's wide open for you right now. It's amazing the things that you could do for your family, for yourself. And I feel like you shouldn't let anybody tell you different. You follow your heart, follow your passion, come aboard. I hope to meet you before I get out of here. And, maybe I could motivate you, build you up, develop you, train you to be the future leader. But when I'm gone, to take my place and you on this same conversation, telling the next person. So that's what I hope for.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those words, Arlana, and thank you for joining us today. We're excited that you took out some time from your busy schedule, and you're going to stick around a little bit because next we're going to go to our question and answer session. So Jamie, if you could advance our slide, please. So I know that you all have been busy putting those questions in the chat box, sharing them with Q&A, CTA, and Justin. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and he can start sharing some of those questions that are coming through.
Okay, so seems like a good amount of questions are centered around the acquiring of your CLP, the difference between the CDL and the CLP, and just general information about the test itself. Now, as far as the test goes, the test itself is administered through the DMV. That's not information that we're necessarily privy to as far as grading and how that goes. All the material to study is free, but the test itself is not something that we've ever been given contact over or any kind of control over. So, but as far as receiving that, and you know, the difference between one and the other, and then how that's administered to you after training, Jamie, if you could kind of get back into that conversation and give that little information in a little more detail. That's one of the primary questions that I think everyone, a good amount of people has been asking.
Sure. So the difference between the two, the CLP is the actual permit. So you receive the permit. It's just like, you know, before you receive your driver's license, if you are under, 18 or so, you receive the permit before you receive your actual driver's license. So it's the same thing with this. The CLP is the actual permit. The CDL is the actual license. You can obtain both at those two locations, South Holland and Elk Grove Village. The test that you want to focus on is general knowledge, passenger and air brakes. They do have a guide on the Secretary of State website, and I know some candidates do use different applications to study. One is called, I believe, MV. So those are ways that you can study and prep yourself for that exam.
Okay, great. Another question a few people have asked is the time from transitioning from part-time to full-time, the amount of hours. I know this is something we covered, but we did have a good amount of people come into the conversation after we covered some of that. So if you can just speak on the amount of hours through training, the amount of time, as of right now, we're looking at it would take to transfer from a part-time employee to a full-time employee, that kind of information.
Got it. So training again is typically 30 to 45 business days, and it is paid training. It typically takes part-time bus operators to transition anywhere from 12 months to 18 months, sometimes sooner, sometimes longer. And part-time bus operators are scheduled 32 hours per week.
And the hours worked during training?
7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday.
So just to clarify, as during training, you are a full-time employee. It's not until you're designated out to a garage to where you can begin to work on that, you know, up to 32 hours as the part-time operator. But as a trainer, as a trainee, as you're going through that program, you are a full-time employee, at least as far as the pay is reflected. Okay. And the amount of time right now to transition from part-time to full-time, Jamie, if you can cover that a little bit.
Yeah, it typically takes part-time operators anywhere from 12 to 18 months to transition to full-time.
And if anybody currently has their CDL, next steps for them?
Yeah, so if you currently have your CDL, you've passed the written assessment, you've passed the motor vehicle review, as well as the interview, then the next steps would be pre-employment, which can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So that is the medical and background process.
Great. And just as a reminder, from the day you start, you are paid at full pay. Trainee pay is the exact same as your hourly full-time pay. All right. And then a little bit more coverage on the schedule, the fluctuations between nights and weekends. I know a lot of people are curious as to exactly how that works. So if you can speak about that a little bit, Jamie.
Sure. So starting out, you will be on what's called the extra board. So the extra board is when you're calling in the day before to find out what your shift is for the following day. So example, typically the bus operators are calling in maybe around 4 or like 6 p.m. the day before to find out what their shift is for the following day. But again, with us being a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week establishment, you are sometimes working nights, weekends, holidays, overnight shifts, things of that nature. So your schedule is kind of gonna, you know, starting out, it will be kind of all over the place. So flexibility is important.
Great. I know a couple of people have asked about transitioning from the bus operator to another position or to the train. Every position we have here is open for application. Just because you start in one position doesn't mean that you need to stay in that position for any duration. You are available to apply for another opportunity. Now, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily transitioned from one to the other just because you're here. Any position that we have requires you to apply, to qualify, and to receive consideration through our recruitment process. So there are no direct paths from one position, direct hire into another position. Everything progression wise has to be earned by a full recruitment process, just for everybody's information. As far as the benefits, Jamie, I know some people have had some questions about the kind of benefits they receive while coming on. Instead of getting too deep into that conversation, I want to let everyone know that at the time of consideration, you're given an opportunity to speak with our benefits department. They'll go through item by item what's going to be allotted you as a part-time employee. I know initially you'll have benefits for yourself, and then as a full-timer, once you transition, I think then you'll be able to align benefits for your dependents and things like that. I just wanted to make sure that we touched on that. Don't want to get too deep into that conversation, only because we are not the benefits team, and I want to allow them the opportunity to explain that. But prior to you making a decision on whether or not you want to move forward, that is a conversation that everybody is allowed to have on a one-on-one basis. Now, as far as the application process, Jamie, I know some people didn't necessarily see the first half of that. If you can just start off from from application to close, what that looks like, just kind of really quick, itemized, step by step.
Sure. So again, you can apply at transitchicago.com/careers. You're going to create a profile. Once you create a profile, you can look on our website and see what jobs you are interested in. Go ahead and apply for the job. Be sure that you add your resume to your profile, because we are, as recruiters, we are looking to see who experience match closely with the position. So we definitely encourage you to add a resume. We encourage you not to create duplicate profiles. I spoke on that a little bit earlier, because it can sometimes be hard to find your application if you have duplicate applications. So if you for some reason forgot your password or your username and you're unable to log in, just reach out to help desk and they can get you back into your account, opposed to creating multiple profiles. But once the application is submitted for this particular position, if you are selected to move forward, the next step would be to invite you to take the online assessment. After that, if you pass the assessment, then the next step would be us reviewing your motor vehicle report. If you successfully pass that, then you will be invited to interview. If you successfully pass the interview, then the next step will be the pre-employment process, which is medical and background, which can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. If you successfully pass medical and background, then you are onboarded and ready for new employee orientation.
Great. Arlana, you still with us? Hi, Arlana, Ms. Johnson? Maybe not. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Sorry.
Okay, good. I do have some people asking about additional training. So once you're out of the initial 30 to 45-day training given by bus instruction and you get out to a garage, the questions are, what kind of additional training do you receive there? Anything related to route training? What kind of other information is shared with new candidates?
So the training really continues even when you get to the garage. There is an on-site instruction department that will offer you additional training and skills or tools that you might need to continue. And what was the latter part of that question?
Yeah, that was all the types of training. I know one of the questions was, if is there like specific route training or is there continuous training towards becoming something other, something, I guess, what the equivalent would be like to move into a supervisor or instructor position? I think they're looking for some like kind of linear career progression. What would potentially happen moving past, once they're trained as an operator? Is there any other additional training for other opportunities?
Manager Johnson, you're muted. We can't hear you.
We might have lost her. So why don't you, Justin, go on to the next question and we'll come back to that.
Sure, I can fill in a little bit of the gap there. You do receive route instruction, whatever garage that you're stationed at, or have the opportunity to potentially pick for. At that location, they will take you through route specific training. So before you're ever required to run a route, you'll have an instructor on the bus with you, showing you exactly how the route runs, how to make your stops. So initially, when you go to any new location, any new route, you're going to be side by side with someone instructing you stop by stop exactly how to run a specific route. The next kind of, I guess, progression in the bus side, we do have people who eventually become instructors, who come into work in instruction and teaching other operators how to properly operate. And we have people who come into supervision. Supervisors run the route along, sometimes alongside operators, sometimes respond to incidents. Are kind of site commanders for whenever something does happen and we need additional help on site somewhere. So there are a couple opportunities that feed directly into coming from being an operator that, whatever training that you would be interested in receiving for that, you can get directly from management and instruction. Okay. Seems like there's still some CDL related questions. Jamie, just as far as how long it would take them to receive their CDL on our side, and then exactly the costs associated with taking the exam.
Sure. So the cost again is $60. It can be taken at the South Holland DMV location or the Elk Grove Village location. And what was the other question, Justin?
Time to receive their CDL. So they receive training from us, and then how long it takes them to acquire their CDL after they begin training with us.
Is it 30 days? Can you speak to that? I'm sorry.
Sure, that's not a problem. After we subsidize the CDL, as long as you get your learner's permit, you'll get enough hours during training for us to then qualify you to be a state of Illinois CDL holder. After 6 months of time with us, we release the ID to you. So we'll retain it for your initial period while you're here. And then at that point, we'll relinquish the CDL to you. And then it is yours from that point forward. Okay, I know there's some questions about how people get their hours. Jamie, if you can cover that, please, briefly. That people that want to know why they have to work potentially a weekend or potentially a holiday. Just kind of go over how the seniority process and the extra board and things like that.
Sure. So again, starting out, you will be on what's called extra board. So with the extra board, you're calling in the day before to find out what your shift is. With this role, it is a part-time role, but with CTA being a 24-hour, 7 days a week establishment, starting out, you won't be able to pick your shift. So you will work nights, you will work weekends, holidays, things of that nature. And again, part-timers are scheduled up to 32 hours per week.
Perfect. We're really getting down into the end of it here. I'm not receiving too many other questions. I know some people have questions around how many drivers will be hired, is the posting closing, how can I apply, this and that. The application, I think we've covered in a couple different ways here. Again, transitchicago.com/careers. How many drivers we will hire right now? That number is wide open. We have a lot of people that are ending their career here. Some people are retiring, moving on to other opportunities. So we're constantly looking to fill this position. This is a position that we'll be filling forever. So as long as the organization is around, we're going to need bus operators. They're the lifeblood of the organization. So the position is open. There is no end in sight for the amount of time that we'll spend collecting applications. We do review applications by date of application. So if you've already applied to the position, it just means that we just haven't had a chance to get to your application yet, but we're moving relatively quickly through your application. And as far as the amount of people will be hired, we're hiring upwards of 20 people every couple of weeks. So the door, as Alana mentioned earlier, is wide open for entrance into the organization. We are looking to bring a large number of candidates on. But I think that'll pretty much cover our Q&A for at this period, Lindsay.
All right, thank you, Justin. And thank you to Arlana. I saw that she joined again. So thank you so much to you, Arlana, for sharing a little bit about your experience here at CTA and talking to our potential bus operators out there about what they could experience here, both in their, kind of day-to-day work and then in their potential progression for their career here at CTA. So we thank you for joining us and sharing that information. Thanks to Jamie also for being our all-star bus operator recruiter, sharing that information today and answering all our questions. And of course to Justin as well, who was managing those questions. And thank you to all of our participants. So you can see on the screen before you our website, transitchicago.com/careers. That's where you can find the bus operator position and start your application. That application is live today, so you can, while it's top of mind, head over to the website and start your application while it's fresh. We would love to see many, many applications come in from many of you on the call. There's also other positions posted there too. So, if you're interested, if you've got some mechanic experience and you're interested in becoming a bus mechanic, we've got that posted as well. And then a bunch of others. So take a look at what we have to offer. They're all found there at transitchicago.com/careers. Jamie, can you go to the last slide, please?
Sure.
All right, and then this is just a plug for everybody to follow us over at our LinkedIn page. Search us at Chicago Transit Authority. This is where you can learn more information about any other careers that we're posting about, any job opportunities or job fairs that we have coming up. It's also where we like to highlight our employees, highlight the people who are behind the work that is getting done at CTA. So follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on our other social media channels, and you'll get to learn a lot more about the work that we do here at CTA. But again, thank you to our participants for joining us. We hope that you liked what you heard. And like I said, I hope to see many, many applications from you all. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine. And yeah, just one more time, thank you for joining us. And we hope to see more applications. Take care, everybody.